G'day guys, Steve from Broken Sprocket. In this video, I'm going to do a rebuild on the forks on the RM125 project. So, let's get started. Okay, first thing I need to do is pull this sort of stuff here off. You can see the forks are leaking fairly badly, and give these forks a good clean so that we don't contaminate them when we're working on them. Okay, now with the forks cleaned up and looking better than what they were anyway, I've got a kit here for the forks, new fork oil. We'll pull these apart and start to reassemble them. Alright, one of the first things you have to do is remove the oil, and you have to remove this cap. You'll probably find it's too hard to do just holding on, so you'll have to put the triple clamps on here and just so that it's got something that you can hold on to so you can crack that big bolt. Now you can grab hold of the triple clamp. You've got something that you can lever up against. Now that it's broken, you can almost, well, you can do it by hand. Now you need to empty the oil. Okay, you need to push on the other end so that you can get access to this. There is a special tool that will touch that, but I just put a 13mm spanner in there and it seems to grab it well because I have to undo this nut from this main shaft. Because we need to take this piece here from this piece. Oh, that was a bit tight. Now that this is removed, you can slide this out. Just simply push on the other end again and release it. This should just go in by itself and come back on its own, which it does, so that's good. Okay, I need to remove the upper fork tube from the lower. So I'll have to remove the dust cap. Now with the dust cap removed, you should be able to see a little steel retaining clip which actually holds the seal in place. So I have to remove that. Now there's just the actual seal. This is the seal that stops the oil from leaking out. And to get that out, you have to just sort of slide hammer it out and it will just pop out. Now the inner tube is totally bare and there's nothing here, so I need to give this a good clean out because it's pretty dirty. First one to remove is this one. Just get a screwdriver in where the gap is and pry it open a bit and it should slide over. The second bushing, the steel washer, the actual oil seal. The oil seal came off on first that bush, the second little smaller bush, the washer, the actual oil seal cap, the retaining clip, and the dust cap. First thing I want to do is give these tubes a good clean out because they've got a lot of dirt and grit and dirty old yucky oil in them. You need to hit. Okay, this is all the old parts that were on the fork, and this is the new parts that I'm going to replace it with. First thing we need to do is put some tape around these sharp edges because I don't have a bullet that goes over it, and if you put it on without a little bit of fork oil on here to lubricate it. First one to go back on is your fork seal dust cap. Now it goes on with the spring side down. Then your fork seal retaining clip. Next is the actual fork seal. Lubricate this up really good. This goes with the thicker side of these little nibs and that spring facing down. Now that the seal is on, we can take the tape back off. Next is the washer. Smaller of the bushings, it doesn't matter which way they go on. And the last bushing. So we've got the bush, the second one, the washer, the actual oil seal, the oil retaining seal retaining clip, and the dust cap. We can now put the spring back into the fork. Put the outer tube on. Slide your seal up into here. Push it in the best you can get, and then you'll have to get a fork seal driver. Okay, you need to get the fork seal driver onto here and slam this fork seal up into here until it stops. That's all it takes. Now that this fork seal is in place, so you can slide this retaining clip up in here and lock that seal in. Make sure that retaining clip is in the groove and is stuck in properly. And lastly, slide your dust cap into place. Okay, I'm going to change the oil inside this inner cartridge. Just got to take this top cap off. Okay, the oil in here is actually quite dirty. So just like your car, you put fresh oil in there and the components stay much better for much longer. Make sure you pump the rod. Alright, give the inner section of this a good wipe and a good clean, get all the dirty filth off it. Now I did ask my parts supplier for a kit for this, but they couldn't find anything anywhere for a kit for one of these. But looking at these bushes, they look fantastic. The O-rings are in really good condition. They're not flattened out in any way, so just some new oil will do this one. Clean out any old dirty oil inside here. Make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, this dampening rod will need 193 millimeters of fork oil. Now, with the damper rod extended, simply just pour it in. You'll need to bleed it by just pumping on the damper rod nice and slow. Pull the dampener rod all the way in. And as you install this piston, takes a bit of going. The dampener rod will also come out at the same time and it will help suck it actually in. Then simply tighten it back on. Okay, the torque for this is only 22 foot-pounds, so that's not very much torque at all. You'll probably find a little bit of oil will come out of these holes, so just drain it into your drain pan. Now your rod should be able to go in, and it feels really nice, and return on its own. Okay, it's time to install this back into the fork. Just make sure this nut is wound all the way up. Putting pressure on the dampener rod, and get your spanner back in under here. Reinstall this clicker, put a little bit of oil around the O-ring. Don't forget your rod adjuster. I almost just did. And this clicker is set at 16 foot-pound, so that's not very much. Now put pressure back on the dampener rod, remove the spanner, and ease this in nice and gentle. This one to 50 foot-pound. Okay, we just need 320 mils of fork oil in this main fork chamber. Okay, the top cap needs to be at 25 foot-pound of pressure. I have no way of measuring that, so what I do, instead of levering right from the end and getting a lot of torque, I come up here a lot more and get a lot less torque. That's enough torque for me. I'm just adjusting my dampener and compression to standard settings. It says to go completely fully in and then back 8 on both settings. Feels pretty good. Hey, watch this video next, or go to the Broken Sprocket video library and choose another top video. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. After all, it's for free and guaranteed to make your day 20% better. If you're already a subscriber and you're having a bad day, just think it could have been 20% worse. You can also follow Broken Sprocket on Instagram. So, I'll see you in the next video.